I help you?
Lieutenant, what is your name?
Elo?
Elo. How do you spell the E-L-O-W?
Excuse me?
How do you spell that?
S-T-I-E-L-O-W.
I-L-O. Okay. Yeah, I would like to file a complaint against an officer.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Hey, let me get a pen.
Okay.
All right, let me get the complaint phone pulled up here.
Actually, it's two.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I can't hear you. What?
Actually, it's two complaints against two people.
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
I'm just pulling up the complaint form, okay?
No problem.
All right, if you will, first thing we need to do is get your information.
You can call me Reba. I'm anonymous. I will give you a telephone number you can reach me at after I'm finished with the complaint. Well, you have my email address already. I'll give you that also.
How do I have your email address already?
Because I've already made a complaint, but I will tell you at the end of the call.
So you are or are not going to give me the email address now?
Right, I'm going to wait until the end of the complaint, then I will give you the email address.
Okay, who are you complaining on?
Okay, first, Captain Chris Ray.
Okay, and what is the date of the occurrence that you're complaining about?
I can't give you an exact date. I can try to look for the email while we're talking. But I had made a complaint about Trooper Sullivan. I don't know her badge number right now, but it's a female that's in District 1. Well, the Nashville one, isn't it District 1?
No, ma'am, Nashville's not District 1.
Is it 6?
No, ma'am.
Which one is it, 5th?
No.
Which one?
Keep going. You got a lot of good numbers there. It's 3rd.
3rd, okay. I didn't have my notes available for this. I just can tell you and you can figure it out on your own. She was in Wilson County. She was at a car accident on Bluebird Road. Chris Ray already has this information because I had filed a complaint. Officer Sullivan, or Trooper Sullivan, failed to ID to me after she initiated conversation and gave me directives of what I could and could not do. And over and over and over again, she refused to give me her name or her badge number. That is your policy, period. I gave him the link to the video where you watch her say no, no, no. Eventually, I got in touch with her supervisor and made a verbal complaint to him, and he did give me her name, and that's the only way I could find out who she was. And so I called and made an internal affairs complaint with Chris Ray. I gave him the link to the video where he could witness her saying no and no ma'am maybe 5 times throughout the entire encounter. And he sent me a letter back saying that it was unfounded or not sustained against that trooper. I went to Cookville and spoke with Sergeant Trammell, and I got a public records request of your ID policy. He also verbally confirmed that that is policy. I know your CALEA is certified. If you are up to that standard, I know you do have to ID. I know that the officer does if you initiate conversation and refuse when I ask over and over and over again. The only way to make a complaint about her was to find out her name through her supervisor. It's all on video. He already has the link to that. Then he sent me a letter saying that that was not true. So I got the public records request that gives your ID policy, which confirms that it is true that you have to identify yourself if you initiate conversation with me and tell me what to do. I consider that the thin blue line covering for itself, saying that she didn't do something against policy that she did. And as the captain, I consider that very insulting. When it is policy, I got the copy of the policy, I've gone through the proper channels, and he didn't do his job. To me, that is that thin blue line covering for itself. If you want to look at me getting the complaint and Officer Tremmel confirming that that is policy, I can give you the name of the video that you could look up. It is called Complaint Against Trooper Sullivan Failure to ID Tennessee Highway Patrol First Amendment. Then, well, that's the one where I talked to Chris Ray. Now, the one where I actually got the policy and spoke with Officer Tremmel. Let me find the name of it. I think it's called FOIA, FOIA request. I'm getting to it. My computer's slow. Give me just a minute. Okay, yeah, FOIA request THP Tennessee Highway Patrol ID policy. There's no question that that is policy. There is no question she failed to ID repeatedly. There is no question that it took getting her supervisor to give me her name. Chris Ray failed in his job and is covering for one of his own. I find that to be irreprehensible behavior with a lack of accountability and transparency from the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Period. So I want him to reopen that investigation, and I want a complaint about him.
Now, you said there was an investigation, that he had already sent you a letter?
Exactly. So he's aware of it, so you can look it all up on there.
Do you know the case number or review number that was given to it?
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me just a second and I will try. I'm in a hurry. I have to take someone to work. So I had to do this really quickly. But he has a copy of the letter he sent me. I'm sorry, what was your question? The complaint number?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. I'm looking. I'm trying to get this done before I have to take someone to work.
Let me ask you this. Would you like for me to email you a copy of our complaint form so you can fill all this out and put in?
No, I'm doing this with you. Okay, I think I got the results back from Casey Fitz. And it does not have the case number on it. But this says, if you have additional questions or concerns regarding the outcome, please contact Captain Anthony Griffith. Now, who is that in compared to Captain Chris Ray, who's supposed to be over internal affairs?
Captain Griffin is the Nashville District Captain.
Okay. Well, it happened in Wilson County, and when I called Chris Ray, he said that the one that covered Wilson County also covered Nashville. So is that true or not?
That is completely true.
Okay. Then how is Captain Ray and Captain Griffin different? Why would I call Captain Griffin about Chris Ray?
I have no idea.
In fact, this came from Casey Fitz, who's a sergeant. So I don't understand the loop of how your top people are, but whoever needs to investigate the captain, whether it's Captain Anthony Griffin or not, it needs to be done. This is disgusting to me, just to make it perfectly clear. When you won't hold somebody accountable for something that small.
Right. So who was your second person you're complaining on?
The one about Officer Sullivan, I'm re-complaining. I want that reopened. So it's about Captain Ray. The other one is about Officer Sullivan. I want that reopened and investigated. I'm disgusted by this. I'm truly disgusted. That thin blue line. That thin blue line y'all are so proud of, that's why it makes people sick. Because what it means to the public is we back our own, man. We cover each other. And the public is, no, we're not public servants. No. You know, you do what we tell us to do. But no, when it comes to being held accountable, you're supposed to hold yourselves accountable. And when an officer doesn't follow policy, you know, this isn't whether you shot somebody and we're in court and a jury decides. She didn't follow policy. The captain's covering for her. It's disgusting behavior. I want a complaint on him for finding something unfounded that was founded, and him held accountable for doing it.
Now, you say you've got a copy of a policy you're referencing. Do you know what policy number that is that you're referencing?
No, I do not. I FOIA request the policy of your ID policy. All you have to do, you have it there at your office, is open that book and you look at it. I went all the way from Nashville to Cookeville, requested the policy. I waited and got the policy. So you can go to a book and look at it. After I spent probably 4 or 5 hours of my time and then a week waiting for your policy, open your policy book. Just look at the pages instead of making me give them to you. You have your policy already. Okay, let me ask you a question. Is it policy that if you approach somebody at an accident and you ask me what I'm doing, and then you start telling me to go stand over there, you can't go over there, you can't go over there, and I say, Trooper, what is your name and your badge number? You tell me right now. Is that your policy? Yes or no?
Ma'am, I'm not going to get into a hypothetical.
That's not hypothetical. It is simple. Do you have to ID when you interact with the public if they request it? Yes or no?
It's simple, but we're not going to get into a debate on the phone. There's no point.
You know it's your policy. I got a copy of the policy. You have a copy of the policy right there. You can look it up.
I'm not looking at it.
You can.
So,
You can. Surely Chris Ray did. He had to look at the policy. Sergeant Tremmel told me it was policy. Then I got a copy of your policy. I'm not going to send you a copy of your policy. That's insanity.
I don't know what the captain did or did not look at. I'm not going to get into it. But
well, of course. Of course. You know, I know you're defensive because you're defending your own. But it's simple policy. He was wrong. I want to complain against him, whoever is over him, which is somebody. I want a complaint to them, and that reopened about Officer or Trooper Sullivan, period. I think we're done with what we need to say to each other because you're getting defensive. I'm already just blown away at the lack of accountability with the THP. And I'm going to tell you something. I always saw the Tennessee Highway Patrol as the creme de la creme of law enforcement in this state. And it's just forever stained. It is forever stained by the interactions I've had with them recently. And now not even holding somebody accountable for something this small. It's just disgusting. So anyway, here, I'm going to give you my email address